MTN Radio Awards left off. Since its inception, the awards have seen substantial growth and support in the industry. These give recognition to radio presenters, producers, show stations that have contributed and continue to contribute positively in the business. The awards will be held tonight, and to share more on what we can expect, we'll chat to CEO Lance Rothschild. Welcome, Lance.
Thank you. Lovely
great
to be here
have
this morning.
you. Awesome. Now, there's always a little concern when awards change sponsorship.
Yeah.
I was quite relieved to hear that Liberty came on board after MTN left.
Yeah.
How did that relationship with Liberty come about, and has very much changed from the radio awards that we know?
Well, the basic underlying concept of the awards hasn't changed. The idea is to have a credible, well-judged, transparent and independently adjudicated platform which recognizes and honors excellence in radio. So that is the core underlying principle. The agreement with MTN terminated in 2015. They had a lot on their plate and they cut a lot of sponsorships. And last year we got talking to Liberty, who recognized this as a good platform, as a very solid platform. They recognized the fact that radio impacts with about 94% of South Africans on a daily basis, and that it was going to be a great platform to assist in developing excellence in radio, in continuing to foster excellence in radio, and empowering people with more knowledge.
Now, Lance, what I've always loved about these awards is that they're so credible. So credible. It's that source in the radio world where if you're looking for the best, you just go and see if they've won a radio award.
Yeah.
What's that special thing that the judges were looking for in the nominees this year?
We have a very well-established adjudication system, and the judges score the entries on basically 4 key criteria, which is creativity. They look at, is this new, is this innovative, what is happening with the entry, and what is the kind of message that the piece of work wants to get across. Presentation, obviously you have to be able to present well in radio. The value to the listener, because at the end of the day there's only one person that really is the winner of the radio awards, and that's the listeners. And finally, the production values. How has the production been put together on air, not in terms of the entry, but on air, so that the listener gets the most out of it?
And what's been the growth over the past few years?
Sure. Well, we started out in 2010, where we had just under 200 entries. And this year we had just on 1,700 entries. Now, each entry is 6 minutes of audio and obviously a written submission. But if you take 1,700 entries times 6 minutes of audio, that translates to 170 hours of non-stop audio.
To all of that?
So we break down all the entries in the various categories. We also adjudicate across 4 categories of radio. So you've got campus, community, public broadcasting, and commercial. We break it down into the categories. We break it down into adjudicators, and the adjudicators who are volunteers, who don't get remunerated for their work, get allocated certain categories to adjudicate. We obviously also do things to preclude any conflict of interest. The system is set up to average the entries, and then we have audit checks at the end of it to ensure that everything has been done fairly. And so the average adjudicator is spending anywhere up to 40 to 50 hours over the period, over the 6-week adjudication period, that listening. So roughly something like between 2,500 and 3,000 hours of total listening to give us the results of tonight. And that is underlying, and that is the reason why, to get back to your question earlier, why the awards carry such credibility.
Let's talk about the adjudicators. You say they volunteer, but are they credible people? Are they radio people? Who are they? Are they listeners?
No.
Give us an idea into the experience they have and authority they have.
A lot of them come directly from the radio industry. The radio industry puts forth a lot of people who are active in the industry. So, for example, a judge who might be active in the commercial radio sector, and there's quite a few producers and station managers, etc., from the commercial radio sector are on our adjudication panel. They will never judge any entries from the commercial radio sector, just by the way. So we get judges from across the board. The SABC is a really good participant in the awards, and they submitted a whole lot of not only industry-based adjudicators, but also some independent adjudicators. And then there's some of the older guys who have left the industry and who are still on the panel. Just for full disclosure, I do not adjudicate. I do not score entries because I have a broad association with the industry at large, and would there's the one thing that we really do is we preclude any form of bias in the adjudication.
Now, Lance, take us through the process of the call to entry. How do you popularize that?
Okay, so the call to entry, we do a roadshow around the time that we're doing the call to entry around the country, all the major centres. We communicate via direct communication with all the stations. There's over 300 radio stations in the country. Our database of people is about 3,500 people large. We communicate with them via social media as well, and we start telling them that the entries are opening. We normally have about a 10-week window where the entries open to where the entries close. As is typical in anything, the last 48 hours, 95% of the entries come in. So yeah, our system gets jam-packed and people phone us and panic. But so the entries close at the end of January. Stations have to submit in the various categories their entries. They are allowed to submit no more than 3 entries per category, no more than 1 entry per person in that category. So yeah, that it just regulates it, and so that they don't entry bomb us as well. That the station needs to sort out who's doing the best work on the station as well in each category. And then the entry consists of no more than 6 minutes of audio. And that doesn't have to be contiguous audio from the show. It can be 6 minutes of moments. It's got to be your best foot forward. So as if you're sending a demo tape to a radio professional, asking that person to listen to you and evaluate you.
Now, very quickly, Lance, 5 seconds. What can we expect for us who are attending the awards?
It's going to be a phenomenally good evening. It's the Oscars of the radio industry. Glitz, glamour, lots of fun.
Oh, I love that. That is the CEO of the Liberty Radio Awards. His name is Lance, and the awards are happening. Very excited to see who'll be walking away with the various accolades that are up for grabs. Now, time for us to take you to an ad break, and when we come back, we get into the final segment of our show this morning.